Okay, for our last little bit here, we're going to do something fancy. I should have mentioned earlier, if you want to figure out how to cook bugs, they're very versatile. You can steam them, bake them, fry them, roast them. You can grill them, but you better use a skewer or else they'll fall through the slats in the grill unless they're really large. But they're quite versatile. You do need to be careful with your heat. If you expose certain insects to very high heat right away, their bodies might burst, and that's fine if you're making a gravy or a paste. But if you like the visual of being able to serve a whole insect, you do need to watch your heat a little bit. And the last thing is, as far as recipes go, yes, you can serve a bug au naturel without a lot of other stuff going on. But if you have any dish that calls for small chopped bits or pieces of fruit, nut, meat, or vegetable, you can add or substitute insects, and voila, you have an edible insect dish. So that's another little tip. Now we're going to cook something pretty special. Where are my tweezers? Don't know if you guys recognize Erythemus simplicicollis, the eastern pond hawk, when you see one, but they're quite abundant down here where I live. So with a little sweat equity, yours truly went out and caught some dragonflies. This is kind of a specialty thing that I like to do. So I went ahead and put them in glassine envelopes in the field, doubled it over, froze them, and now they've just been out of the freezer for a few minutes. We're going to cook some dragonflies. I like to call this dish eau de nate hors d'oeuvre. And for this audience, I don't need to explain what any of that means. So we'll start with a little egg cracking and mess making all over my kitchen counter. There's one, and there's two, and I'll stir them up a little bit. And what I'm going to do basically is treat my dragonflies like I would a fillet of fish. I'm going to run them through an egg wash, and then I'm going to dredge them in some seasoned fish fry, and I'm going to lightly fry them. Now, first, I'm going to make my gravy. So I have a little pat of butter here, and it's going to go in this tiny little skillet. I've got a little bit of heat under here, but it's just enough. And I'm going to add to this some soy sauce, and it's usually about a 1:1:1 ratio for this particular gravy that I'm making. I need a spoon too. Hang on one second. There we go. Got my spoon. And I'm going to add some Creole mustard. So it is a Dijon soy butter, or a Creole mustard soy butter, but that doesn't roll off the tongue as nicely. And you can use Dijon mustard for this. So I'm going to put that in, and I'm going to stir it up. And if you never thought, by the way, of mixing soy sauce, butter, and mustard before, I would say the result tastes good on anything that ever drew breath or grew roots. So I'll let that heat up, and all I'll do to augment it is maybe add a touch of garlic powder, just like that. And unfortunately, my skillet is so small that it's tilted, but it's not gonna make any difference in the long term. I'm going to turn this heat down a little bit, and I'm going to grab a little more butter. Sorry, I'm probably moving off of camera a little bit, but I forgot my third pat of butter that I needed for everything today. I'm what you might call an absent-minded chef. Oh, that reminds me of one of the things I always say when I do this. There are two kinds of bug chefs. There are people with real culinary training who have learned how to incorporate insects into what they do, and there are bug guys that know how to turn the stove on. And I fall into the latter camp, so don't be fooled by the fancy chef coat. It's a nice coat though, isn't it? So I'm going to just saute some mushrooms. No great shakes there. And while that's happening, I can probably also take my sauce off because it's done everything I need it to do. I'm going to put that right here. And I'll use the spoon for drizzling some of that later. Keep the mushrooms going the way they should. And you might have noticed I had featherlight tweezers here for holding my dragonflies. It's funny that this entomological tool ends up being one of the best things for cooking dragonflies, because you can hold your dragonflies by the wings, and that means that when you put them in your egg wash, which I have down here where I guess the camera's going to go there, you can very delicately make sure they get coated with egg and then move them over to the seasoned fish fry like this, and you can kick some fish fry on them, or you can flip them over like that. And usually I'll do about 3 at a time, but the skillet that's behind me probably can take all 6 of these dragonflies at once. So I'll go ahead and soak the rest of them and set them in here and make sure they're all nicely covered with flour. And I'm going to flip my mushrooms real quickly too. Oh, look at that. I have tongs. I wasn't sure what I had when I got started here in the kitchen today. As you can see, I only took about 75% of what I needed out. The absent-minded bug chef. Okay, those are coming along nicely. And I don't know, what did you guys think of Max? He was pretty cool, huh? I might need to get him back in here as a sous chef. See if he's around. Hey, Max.
Yeah?
Are you able to come and assist me with something?
Yes, I am.
Oh, this would be lovely. All right, I'm going to get Max back here. And in order to make the plate really pretty, he is going to prepare the garnishes. So there's a knife right here. There's some bell pepper right there, and what I want is really thin strips of pretty yellow and pretty orange stuff. So you can just stand right next to me, take over as much of this as you need.
Yes, sir.
Not that I'm giving you a whole lot of space, but yeah.
No worries.
Thanks. Trying to keep it within our little time frame here, because I know you guys are on a short little break, those of you who are watching this. Here's my last dragonfly. And now I'm going to get ready to fry them all up. And the nice thing about doing it this way is that when the dragonfly is done frying, it still retains the shape of a dragonfly. So it looks just like a dragonfly. So I'm putting them in nice and slow. It really, with a nice heat like this, which is not going to burn your fry and make them too dark, it's going to only take about 30 seconds per side on these dragonflies. So there's all 6 of those. I'm going to reach past you and wipe this off right quick. So I have clean tongs. And I think my mushrooms might be done. Pretty much done. So my dragonflies, that was probably a half a minute. I'm going to flip them. This is the part where I stop looking at the camera, because if I don't concentrate on the food, I'm going to mess it up. Again, a real chef would not have trouble speaking and cooking at the same time. And I'm probably going to grab one more plate too. And one more napkin, so that I can drain a little bit of that hot oil off of the dragonflies. They should be done. And not to taint your opinion beforehand, but I do find that these taste a lot like soft-shell crab. A lot of people ask me what my favorite bug is to eat. And as pedestrian as the house cricket is, as common as it is in this world of entomophagy, at least here in the US, I think they taste great. I also like this dragonfly dish because I've done it a lot and people think that it's really tasty. And then there are the insects that you can eat raw and live. And honeypot ants, boy, there's nothing better than honeypot ants for that. All right, and you knock that part out. And we'll make room in the middle there because I'm gonna be putting some mushrooms on there that you and I get to pick up and eat, right? Mm-hmm. 2, 3, how about we do 3? So here are the odonate hors d'oeuvres. Pretty darn nice presentation, I think. I'm going to put a little bit of this Dijon soy butter on each one. Not enough to overpower the dragonfly. And by the way, one more funny little thing is every once in a while when I'm serving this and I've got someone who's coming up after I've already explained the dish, they'll point to all of this brown stuff and they'll say, "What is that?" And I'll say, "Oh, that's fungus. But if you don't want the fungus, you can just eat the insect that's on top." Yeah. And frankly, you know, you will taste more of the dragonfly without the mushroom. But in a second here, Max and I will sample for you. All you can do is watch, but we'll let you know what they taste like. All right, Max, we're getting ready to sample these dragonflies, but you had a comment a second ago about some of my verbiage. Please.
Yeah, I would liken them to shrimp a little bit more than fish fillet, only because of their size, and we use shrimp fry mix for it.
Yeah.
But I think it's a really similar presentation and a pretty similar process to cook them.
Right.
To battle little individual things, you know. It's
so let's enjoy our sky prawns.
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, there you go. That is solid.
Well done.
Mm-hmm. And guess what? We have 3 more we can eat. And if you like them, you don't even need to add the mushroom or the sauce.
Oh, wow.
So, thanks for watching, everybody. I hope you enjoyed this. Have a great conference.
Bye, all.
Bug appetit.